Shout out Joey Blackman for this another video, bro. This is about to be a W video. Let's get into this shit.
There are a ton of Siege players who try to understand the advanced concepts in Siege before they understand the fundamentals, but not you. You are here on this video so you can see the tips that every R6 player needs to know if they want to get good at Siege. So whether you got a good rank purely off of your aim, or if you're brand new to Siege, I guarantee that if you truly understand all of these tips, you will rank up fast and your KD will increase massively. If you have any questions, follow my Twitch, leave a like, and let's get started. A very important tip that people need to understand in Siege is your speed changes relative to the distance you are away from the enemy. That may sound complicated, but I'll make it very simple for you. If I am back here, right? I'm standing all the way back here, and then I move side to side, you can see that I am moving slowly compared to Thunderbird, right? It's fairly easy for her to track me, and I'm moving pretty slow. But if I get really close to Thunderbird, now all of a sudden, compared to Thunderbird, I look way faster. On a controller, you'll have to move your joystick further to the side to track me, and on a mouse, you'll have to move your hand further to track me. This makes me much harder to hit because I'm playing close. This is why, if you are at a long range, you want to not wide swing, because if you're far away and you wide swing, you're just moving very slowly across their screen, and it's very easy for them to track you and kill you. But if you swing up close and then you wide swing, you can see how fast this is. It completely screws up her crosshair placement, and she needs to whip her hand across her mouse pad. This makes wide swinging if they...
Joey Black, I play on console, so yeah.
They are playing up close a very free kill. Let's say you drone out Thunderbird and you notice that she's playing bottom blue here, then don't wide swing, right? Go for quick peeks. But if you drone her and you see, oh, she's playing very close on this door, then wide swing and get a free kill, because it will look like you're moving the speed of light on her screen. A very important
knowing me, I would
every
probably still
Siege
die
player is to play cutoffs. Not only because it'll win you more rounds, but it will also just make your KD higher with a bunch of free kills. A great example is here on Bank. If I rappel up to these windows here, then if you're playing somebody like Habana or Ace,
I'm doing this for
open
sure
up
on
this
Bank.
E3 wall. This will allow you to catch people rotating.
If I
right? So if they're
unfortunately
playing
have to
in the
play
elevator, or if they're playing in meeting and they
Habana
try to
DMR.
stop,
Okay,
this is just a free kill for you now. There are cutoffs on every single map. So if you can just think about where are they going to play, and then where are they going to rotate to, try and find a spot where you cut off that rotation, and you will farm kills in every match that you play. An extremely important fact that every Siege players need to know is how flashbangs work. As I'm sure you know from games like Counter-Strike or Valorant, or basically any game in existence, a flashbang will only blind pulse here if it goes off in front of him. So in those games, right, the goal would be throw a flashbang right here and then swing because it flashes pulse, since the flashbang is in front of him. But in Siege, that is not the case. Yes, if it goes off in front of him, it will flash him, but if you throw your flashbang here, you are going to be in for a bad time, because flashbangs are proximity based in Siege.
Yeah,
if it goes off
suck
this
with
far
flashbangs.
away from...
I suck. That's one thing I gotta get better with is flashbangs. Every time I throw a flashbang, I flash myself, bro. I don't even know how, because I feel like the flashbangs are so far away from me.
In any direction at all, then you will get blind. You do not need to be looking at the flashbang. So instead, the goal is actually to throw it at Pulse, right? So you want to bounce it in the direction of Pulse. If it bounces off this wall here and
I would still get flashed from,
feet,
I swear to God, I
he
would.
was not looking at that flashbang, right? It went off to the right. It still full blinded him. This will also work, right? Let's say if you quick peek and throw a flashbang at him, well, he is blind and you can get a kill with that flashbang. A tip that every Siege player desperately needs to know is hold tighter angles. Most people, especially when they're coming from other games, they hold wide angles like this. Now, this is fine for other games, right? Like, let's say Counter-Strike, because in those games, as a Rooney swings this angle, you need to give yourself time to react, so that way you can shoot her as she's crossing. But in Siege, you need to unlearn that and relearn how to hold angles. In Siege, you need to be holding extremely tight angles like this. You can barely see somebody cross here, but the important thing is that you can see someone cross. Now, there are a couple options when you see the person on this angle. Either once you see them cross the angle, you can swing out and you can kill them, because then you will have an advantage pre-firing the angle. Or the other option is to just hold this angle with something like a DMR or a low recoil gun and just tap the angle. They can't shoot you off of this angle, and if they try, then they're going going to die because the only spot that they can shoot you from is directly where your bullets are going already.
You're missing.
One of
You're
the
missing.
best tips that I've ever given anyone in Siege is to use traps to isolate angles. A lot of times what I see players do, especially in solo queue, is they watch an angle like this and then they get shot in the back because they don't think that they need to worry about it because their teammates should be watching it. But your teammates are terrible, so stop relying on them. Instead, what you can do is you can set up traps to watch the angle for you. So for example, if you're playing Thorn, put a Thorn mine right here. This way you can safely watch this angle because if they push out into the hallway, the Thorn mine will activate or you will hear them shoot it. And now you know, oh, I can turn around and I can take this fight. And if the Thorn mine hasn't gone off, then you know that that angle is safe. Because Thorn has so many traps, you can do that on a lot of different angles, right? So you could put one here for if they walk in that door. You could put one in the hallway. You could put one on cool vibes. And now you know that no one is pushing any of those spots unless you know about it. Every single Siege player needs to learn the lesson of keeping your drone alive as long as possible. The issue that I see, especially with new players, but honestly a lot of champ players as well, is whenever you're droning, you just kind of drone the site and you're like, oh, I'm gonna check out these Thorn mines. I'm just gonna get over here and then my drone gets shot. You need to remember that your drone is one of the most valuable pieces of utility in the game. If you treat it like your drone dies, you die, then you will have a much better time in Siege because you will have so much more information throughout the round. So for example, right, if I drone over here and I drone out Thorn, I now know where Thorn is, even though my drone isn't dead. And now I can use that to push up, kill Thorn, and now I can go back and get back on my drone and find another person to do that with. You can do this in unlimited amount of times if you just play safe with your drones. And not only that, you have 2 drones. So even if you make a mistake and get one of your drones shot, now you can do it again with your second.
Why is his name Good Boy?
Now there is of course another option than just using your drones for that. You can try and set up pre-places. Let's say you spawn at low spawn on Calypso and you drive your drone here into green. Your goal during the beginning of the round is to secretly set it up in a pre-placed position. So for example, you can kind of set it up behind this monitor here. Now this makes it a very hard spot for them to see, but you can tell exactly where anyone is from the start of the round. So now you won't even need to drone them. All you need to do is before you push in, get on your drone, see where she is, and now you can push in and kill her. An extremely important tip that I see people doing wrong constantly, and it is so frustrating, is keep your gun up. There are so many times where I see people sprinting to quickly cross an angle when they could have gone across the same way by just spamming the angle as they cross.
Okay, yeah, all right. I sprint, I don't sprint a lot, but I sprint a little too much. So.
But spamming the angle forces them not to swing, giving you a safer time crossing instead of sprinting. Or I also see people, right, if I think that there's somebody bathroom and I want to swing this angle, if I'm all the way back here, a lot of low-ranked players will sprint to the angle and then pre-aim this angle and just ADS whenever they make it to the angle. But imagine they already made it out of the angle. What happens is now you're still sprinting whenever they can see you. You get caught off guard here and you die. Even if you don't sprint, right? Maybe you take the advice of stop sprinting so much and you walk up to the angle on ADS and then you ADS getting to the angle. Well, you're only mid ADS whenever you can see Ying and she catches you off guard here. Instead, it will take you an extra half a second to just stay ADS, right? You can sweep this angle here. Oh, Ying's here. And now she's dead because you were already ADS. One of the best ways to win more rounds in Siege that every player should know is just capitalize on weaknesses. So for example, this wall here is usually electrified whenever they're playing party. However, imagine that it wasn't, because sometimes they just forget to bring some wall denial. In that case, if you notice there's no electricity on this wall, instantly, and I mean instantly, blow that shit up. Zero time in getting this wall open. If you can get it open in the first 15 seconds, then that is a massive weakness in their defense that you just capitalized on. Because now you have 2 minutes and 45 seconds to clear people out of here, kill people on this angle here, kill them on the rotate, and take the bomb site. Another example could be, let's say you're droning down here and you notice there's no barbed wire on these stairs. Well, immediately push up these stairs and take this space, because you will catch so many people off guard based on the fact that they have no information on these stairs. An important thing that a lot of Siege...
Or people like to put feet holes on that wall right there too. This wall. Wait, oh, I can't go back? buffering. The fuels on these wall right here. Yeah.
These stairs. An important thing that a lot of Siege players don't know is that depending on the scope you're using, your sensitivity changes. So for example, right, if I put my mouse on one side of my mouse pad and I'm looking at his left, my right, I hear, and I move my crosshair all the way to the other side of my mouse pad, right, then it gets to right here. But if I use a 1x sight and I ADS at his eyeball right here, and then I go all the way to the other side of my mouse pad, it makes it to right here. I moved my hand the same distance, right? And this applies on console. If you move your joystick a certain amount, your scope will move a different distance. Because if I swing this angle and then I need to flick to his head, or if you're on console, you need to move your joystick to get to his head, you need to move it a different distance depending on the scope you are using. And this can absolutely screw up your aim. Now, this is not to say stop using ACOGs and only use 1x sights, but there are a couple options you can do, right? You can go into your ADS sensitivity and you can adjust these accordingly, so that way there is less of a difference between them. Or the easier option is just to aim train with both. Instead of only going in the shooting range with a 1x sight, use a 1x sight and then switch to an ACOG and do the same thing with an ACOG. Practice with both so that way you get used to both of the different sensitivities. An incredibly important tip that every Siege player needs to know is to have good crosshair placement. Now, yes, this is pre-aiming angles, but that's more of an advanced mechanic. I think the most important thing is to not walk around looking at height. Because if I'm walking around like this, right, and I'm just kind of walking around checking angles and stuff, and then I see Mute here, I now need to flick up to him. Whereas if he has good crosshair placement, the second I round this corner, I'm already dead. But think about if I had head level crosshair placement, even if I'm not pre-aiming angles and I'm just sweeping the door frame with head level crosshair placement, at least I don't need to flick to his head because it's already at the correct height. Now you may be asking, how do I get head level all the time? I can't remember. Well, look at this second buckle on a barricade. This is head level. If I stay at exactly this height and turn all the way around, then you can see it is directly on Mute's head. And these buckles stay even if the barricade is destroyed. So as you're walking through the map, this can just serve as a nice reminder to keep your crosshair at head level. Oh, I'm going through this doorway here. Well, this isn't on the second buckle. Look at the second buckle. And then use that to pre-aim heads. I recently did a video where I 1v1 viewers and told them what they were doing wrong. But the biggest thing that I noticed during that entire video is that they were not using utility to take space. What I mean by that, right, is let's say there's somebody playing inside of stock here.
Like a 1v1's pretty hard to gauge like how good someone is though, and like, you know, it's like 1v1 in basketball. Siege is a 5v5.
A lot of times they'll play it with somebody like a zombie, but just playing here in general is going to be hard to deal with because if you try to spam them through here, they could pop up and they could kill you. And realistically, this is kind of just a 50-50 gunfight, clearing them out of stock here. Now, against all of the enemies in that 1v1, what they would do is they would just take the 50-50 fight and then they would die. Or maybe they would try to just jump in and push me out this way and then I would swing them and they would die. The important thing to remember is that you want to do consistently good plays. So that way it works 80% of the time instead of only 50%. In this example, you should use utility to take the space, right? So if I'm Snake, I can scan where he is, and then instead of trying to take the gunfight on him, I throw a nade at him. Now this will force him out, right? He needs to leave. So now he's no longer in stock and I can take the space off of that nade. That allows me to get the space without actually taking a gunfight on him, which is a much more consistent way to push and take space. A very important tip for every single player in Siege is that kills don't matter. The number of deaths that you have matters a ton. This is just to keep track of how well you performed during a certain game. The goal on defense is essentially make sure that you have 5 defenders up at the end of the round and the attackers only have 30 seconds left. Now, obviously, if you're in solo queue, your randoms aren't going to do this, right? They're just going to wide swing. They're going to die here, and then you're going to be down a man. What you need to be doing is focusing on not dying so much, right? Don't take bad fights. If you swing this and you die, next round, just...
I just had a rank session where, it was really bad. I was swinging a lot of stupid shit, and so I need to hear all this right now. I usually watch these videos after I have a bad time on rank.
Don't swing that again. You should be playing safe. You should be steadily moving back, giving them more space without dying while wasting as much time as possible. That way, it'll come to the end of the round, and you'll still be able to win the round for your team, even if all of your teammates died. Let's say you're playing smoke, for example. You can use smoke now to deny the plant, right? If they have 20 seconds left and you have 2 smoke grenades, they have to run through this smoke to get into the bomb site, and that is not going to be good for their health. So just waste as much time as possible and don't die. A tip that a lot of players need to get through their head is that they need to be the guy who does the dirty work. The question should not be how many kills did you get. The question should be how many rounds did you win for your team. Siege does not have an economy like Valorant or Counter-Strike, meaning let's say you get 3 kills and then lose the round. Those 3 kills didn't affect the game at all. Yeah, sure, your teammates are throwing, but those 3 kills are now completely useless. That's why the scoreboard in Siege doesn't really matter that much, because if you got 0 kills but you defused the bomb, or you planted the bomb, or you got the breach open,
you did a good job.
Still helped the round a ton.
Yep.
So the question you should be asking yourself every round shouldn't be, how do I get more kills? Because if you lose that round, those kills aren't going to matter. The question should be, did you get the wall open for your team? Did you take space for your team? Did you get the bomb down for your team? Even if you get 0 kills, if you are winning the round for your team every round, you can be 0-5 and still contributing in a huge way. You need to start filling the open space that you have on defense. What I mean by that is, let's say you have a guy playing here in Trophy, you have a guy playing here watching Big Window, and you have a guy here watching Top White. That means you don't have anybody watching Attic. So instead of doubling up with this guy Trophy and also trying to hold Master, instead fill the gap in your defense. Notice the fact that you don't have anyone holding Attic and hold it for your team. Now this also applies when teammates die. So let's say this guy dies here to someone pushing Master. You holding Attic should now either play head holes right here or rotate to help hold Trophy. So that way they can't just run into sight based off of all of this free space here that they got off of that kill. You should be contesting this door, you should be holding this space, and you should be filling the gap that your teammate left.
W video, Joe. I always watch these videos when I do bad in ranked, and makes me feel good, man. Makes me feel good. Anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. I'm out. Peace.